your time. We need a strap. You have yours. So, Marta, the straps. Well, that's okay. I washed all of them. The ones that are hanging are the ones that are sanitized. Okay, we're not starting quite yet, but we're close. So, is anybody out there? Make sure my microphone is working for me. That would be nice to know. So, let me know if anybody can hear me. I'll wait for somebody to say, I'm here, I can hear you. I know you can hear me. So, good morning. Hello. Is anybody out there? You can look. You want to be on there? Well, I don't see them. If they type a message to me, it comes on the screen, which is kind of cool, except, okay, somebody's watching. Can you hear me? Oh, thank you, Charmin. I can hear you, says one person. Thank you. Is it loud enough? Do I sound okay? Is it sounding loud enough to everybody who's watching? Not too loud, but loud enough, I hope, especially when I go back here. So see? Yeah, it's nothing. Thank you, Sherman. I didn't even notice. I didn't even... Well, I know. Well, I'm looking at your face and not seeing it. Okay. Okay, so I have one, I can hear you, and I'm about to start, so I'm hoping I will come and glance in a second and make sure that anybody who's out there can hear. So let's sit comfortably. At home, if you can grab a strap or even a belt if you don't have a strap at home, or a towel sometimes will work to do a stretch later on in the class. So take your time, get settled in and sit. If you need to sit up on blankets, do. All good? Okay. Thank you guys for your response. So I know that the microphone's working, since I'm certainly not the best at this stuff. So get comfortable in how you're seated, and whether it's cross legs or stretch your legs out. If your hips don't like being cross-legged, don't do it. Stretch your legs out in front of you. Use blocks if you want underneath your knees to support you a little bit so there's not so much pressure in your hips. And then just gently close your eyes and start to lengthen up through the crown of your head. Let your shoulders melt down away from your ears. And start to feel your breath coming in and going out through your nose. Just accepting your breaths in and out. See if you can imagine breathing equally in and out through each side of your nose. And if you can let your breaths come in a little deeper, not forcing the breath. If you can come into those three-part breaths, inhaling into the belly, into your ribs, all the way up into your chest. And then start to move a little bit with your breath. Let your exhalations bring you forward, and your inhalations bring you back upright. It doesn't have to be far that you move. Keep your back nice and long if you can. And let yourself just gently start to move with your breath. And then the next time that you end up upright, let yourself stay there. And let's bring our hands on out beside us, fingertips lightly touching the ground. And let's inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And let our exhale bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. And then we'll reverse. Inhale the hands right on up through the midline. And on the exhale, open the arms on back out and down. And let's come into a twist here. Nice inhale. And as you exhale, twisting to your right, so bringing your right hand behind you, letting yourself bring your left hand across to wherever's comfortable, to your knee or to the midline, lengthening up. Think about feeling that sense of length in the back of the neck and throat. One more inhale. And on the exhale, we'll come on back through center. Keep on going all the way around into the other direction. And again, as you find that twist there to wake up your spine, feel your sit bones drawing down towards the ground, especially that right one, so that your hips are staying nice and squared off. Inhaling here. And on the exhale, we'll come on back into center again. And let's lean back and switch the cross of our legs so you can stretch them out if you need to before you bring your other leg in front. Take your time. And then keep your hands back there for a second and lean back either to your fingertips or go flat to your hands. That depends on how you feel. And let that chest open up a little bit here. Look up a little if you can, but try not to feel tension in your neck. It's fine to look forward, a little bit up. You know, I know some of you really like to look up at the ceiling because it feels good to open through the throat a little bit. If that doesn't bother your neck, go right ahead. One more breath here. And then release to come up. Let your chin come on down towards your chest here now. Release the head forward. And let yourself just enjoy turning your head now just a little bit from side to side. Let your chin go one way and then the other. So it feels good to find some release there in the upper back and in your neck. And then we'll come on back all the way up with the head, and we're going to start to move forward and back with the breath again, letting your exhalations bring you forward and your inhalations bring you back up. So again, take your time. Let yourself keep that length of the spine and enjoy moving with the breath, exhaling your way forward and inhaling your way back up. And then the next time that you end up back up, that end of that inhale, you're sitting nice and tall. Release your hands out beside you again. And we're going to twist again, inhaling here. And on the exhale, let's twist to our left. So bringing yourself around, left hand back behind you as far as you want to go. If you want to look back a little bit, do. Feel that right sit bone drawing down. One more inhale. And on the exhale, we'll come on back around through center. We're going to go all the way around again to the other direction. So lengthening up, sit bones drawing down. Feel space still in the back of your neck and throat. One more inhale. And on the exhale, we'll come on back around into center again. And now, we're going to bring our legs out in front of us for a second. Move through your feet and your ankles a little bit. And then, let's bring our legs over to the left, all right? Let yourself, if you can, you have to find what feels good for your own knee. So you're kind of bringing your front leg about parallel to the front edge of the mat. It might not be quite parallel. And this back knee can go kind of where you feel good to be. Because all we're going to do is lean out over this front thigh here. So over your left thigh. You guys here can mirror, it's fine. And then come on forward a little bit, just so you open up your hips. It's kind of like a little mini pigeon. You can lay all the way out if you want. You can stretch your arms out overhead if that feels good, or you can come to forearms or even stay up higher with your hands supporting you, right? So just easily release and breathe. And then come up enough to send your hand, your left hand here, to give you support. And we're going to open into a side stretch here. So let yourself release here into the side stretch, breathing into that side you're stretching. Good. And then we're going to come back over the front thigh. Let yourself release back forward. And then as you come up, stretch your legs out and swing them on around and go to the other side. So again, you have to adjust this knee, kind of where it feels comfortable for you, so that when you do twist towards this front thigh and you come forward, you're okay, right? Take your time and come as far forward as you want. Stay up as high as you want. So don't force anything. Don't do anything that makes your knee uncomfortable, your hips, your back. Just breathe and release here and let yourself enjoy finding that outer front hip there. Good. One more breath. And now we're going to come up enough to put this hand, this right hand, over to the side and open up now into that side stretch. Let yourself just breathe into that side you're stretching. Good. And then turning back towards that thigh. Again, we're just going to swing our legs on around in front of us again and stretch our legs out and move through our feet and ankles. Do some little flip-flops with your feet, little windshield wiper blades. They can go the same way or opposite. Do some little leg bounces too. We're going to come on around towards our hands and knees. So coming in towards your table and take your time. You know, if your wrists bother you, come up onto fists if you need to. Let yourself get a blanket if you need to for underneath your hands or underneath your knees. Take your time. Spread your fingers nice and wide. Just realized I need to turn that light on. And then start to move through your cat-cows. So as you exhale, drawing into that cat pose, and as you inhale, sending your tailbone back and up and working through into cow. Remember, only you know how far you want to go into these poses. You can always go to a more neutral spine instead of moving through to that cow. So if it's too much for you, just adjust. Let it feel really easy. Feel the suppleness of your spine. Enjoy that ease of movement, that very natural movement through the spine here. Initiating with your tailbone. And then just flowing up through the spine from there. We'll finish off the one we're on. Come back to more neutral spine. And send your right foot behind you. Keep your toes on the floor. Curl them under and just press back into the inner heel there. Really opening up through your calf a little bit there. And then we'll kickstand our left foot a little behind us so that we can come on to that left hand, bringing our right hand up into a little side plank variation. So you can keep your back foot down. You can rise it up off the floor if you choose to, and you can stretch your top arm up if you want as well. That is totally up to you. Keeping the foot down, keeping the hand down is fine as well. And then we'll come on back down, hand down, knee down. We're going to switch. Put the left foot on the floor behind you now. Curl the toes under. Press into the heel. Let yourself wake up the back of your leg there. You can either look between your hands or you can let your head hang if that feels good. Just be mindful here, opening up here. And now send your right foot a little back. So here you are, coming to your right hand, bringing your left hand up. And you can decide whether you want to open up again into the foot rising up, the arm coming up straight up from your shoulder, or keeping your hand down, or keeping your foot down, right? So be where you can. And then we'll come on back, down with the hand, back with the knee. Good. And from here, let's curl our toes under and lift up and come into a downward facing dog pose. So once you get into dog, walk a little bit. Let yourself kind of walk and go to the tops of the feet a couple of times so you open up a little bit there in the tops of your feet, pressing into the tops of your toes 1 foot at a time. Good. And then we'll bring ourselves on back down with the knees and bring our left foot forward and come on into a lunge here. So grab your blocks if you want. Bringing that left foot forward, rising that back knee up into your lunge. Whatever height you need to be. You can use the floor if you'd rather. Blocks any height. Take your time. Let yourself really enjoy finding that length down the back of your body. Think of the back of your head being in line with your spine. And we're going to switch legs. So as you come to the other side, again, the length of stance you take is up to you. Get comfortable up into your hips with the distance your feet are apart, like you're on those very narrow railroad tracks, and reach directly back with that back heel. Enjoy. Coming all the way up into your hips, lengthening out through your spine. Good. And let's step forward from here, coming on into our standing forward bend. Feet hips distance apart and parallel. You know you are welcome to let your hands stay on blocks. Put your elbows above your knees to support your back if you need to do that. Or let yourself release on down, hands towards the floor or hands to your elbows if you like. And bend both your knees a little more than you usually do in your forward bend. Kind of feel your belly coming towards your thighs. And then go ahead if you want to come a little straighter. Just make sure you're not locking your knees. Feel your sitting bones right over your heels. And then breathe. Nice full breaths. See if you can feel the ribs expanding as you inhale. Imagine the top of the head getting closer to the floor as you exhale. And then we'll bring our hands on up to our hips, and we're going to bend our knees and rise on up to standing. And we'll inhale our arms all the way out and up overhead, and let our exhale bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. Coming into mountain pose here now. So take your time, adjust if you need to walk a little bit in place. Do get your feet just where it feels really good. Bend your knees just a little bit. Bring your hands to your heart and then press down into your feet like you're pushing the floor away from you a little bit. And then as you start to come into straighter legs, feel the thighs engaging upward, tailbone dropping down. And just start to let the body align itself. Let the hips, they just really naturally want to come over the ankles, shoulders over the hips. Feeling nice and easy as you bring your gaze, whether your eyes are opened or closed, straight on out as though you're looking at the horizon. And then we'll release our arms on down beside us. Let's inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. Mountain with arms overhead. Turn your pinkies towards each other. And then bend your elbows. Let your hands come down to like right to your upper back if you can. Depends on your elbows. Your shoulders, how it feels for you to bring the elbows in, or maybe you need to wing them out a little bit. And let yourself feel the tailbone dropping down. And then we'll inhale, bring the arms back up overhead. If you're okay to look up, let yourself look up at the ceiling. One more inhale. And on the exhale, we're going to fold forward, coming into that standing forward bend. On your next inhale, find a nice flat back, wherever you want your hands to be, on your legs, on your blocks, doesn't matter, the floor. And we'll step the right foot back and come into lunge. And inhale. Exhale into your downward facing dog pose. So finding that second dog now, take your time and move if you need to. Walk, wiggle around, spread your fingers wide. Come forward a little bit to look at your hands. Make sure they're even. So you don't want one hand turning out more than the other one. Bend your elbows a little bit. Swing them towards each other. And then go ahead and reach back again into your full down dog. Remember, you don't have to have straight legs. You can have your knees bent. Think of a nice long back in your dog. And on the next inhale, we'll come on out to plank, nice and strong. Engage your belly. And we're going to lower down. So if you like to put your knees down first, do it. Or you can come through a full push-up all the way down. And then from here, as you inhale, rise up with your chest and your head into a little mini cobra. Elbows hugging in. Let your back do the work here. Feel the tops of the toes on the floor. And then we'll come on back down, and we're going to make our way back to down dog. Whether you come through a half or a full push-up, or maybe you want to come to your hands and knees and back to your downward facing dog. Elbows hug inward. Enjoy reaching back equally through your sit bones. Feel as equal as you can through the sides of your body. And we'll bring the right foot forward now to come into lunge. And then we'll step forward into our standing forward bend. Feet, again, as parallel as feels good for you. Come back to your breath now. Use whatever support you need. Nice, full, deep breaths. Let go through your face now. Think about your face softening, your jaw. Even relax your throat. And then we'll bring our hands on up to our hips. We're going to bend our knees and rise up to standing and inhale the arms all the way out and up overhead. On the exhale, we're going to come forward again. Bend your knees, coming back into your standing forward bend. Let your next inhale lengthen out your spine. And this time, left foot comes back into lunge. And inhale. Exhale into your downward facing dog pose. Good. Let your next inhale bring you out to plank. Stay there in that plank. If you want to bend your elbows a little bit, do a little bit of a push up. And then we're going to go back to dog. So reach back again, reaching back with your tailbone, finding your down dog. And then again, we're going to come on out to plank, and we're going to lower down this time. So knees first if you want, elbows right by the ribs. And we'll come into that little baby cobra again. Elbows hug inward. Lift your hands for a second. Let your hands make fists and just circle a little bit. Let the fists make little circles. And then bring your hands down. Now, if you want to go higher into cobra, you can. You can press into your hands and come up, elbows still hugging in towards your ribs. You don't have to go higher. You can stay low. And then from here, we're going to shift back towards child's pose, letting yourself bring your big toes towards each other, shifting back into child's pose. And from here, let's walk our hands over to the right and let yourself just breathe into your left ribs a little bit there. And then walk the hands back through center, and we'll walk over to the left. And enjoy breathing into the right ribs. And then we'll come back into center with the hands. We're going to come up to all fours, curl our toes under, and make our way back into down dog from here. Walk a little bit again. And then we'll bring our left foot forward to find lunge, however you need to get there, you know that. And then we'll step back into standing forward bend. Right to your breath. Watching your breaths all the way in and all the way out. Accepting those full, deep breaths, letting them even out a little bit if you can. And then we'll bring our hands on up to our hips. We're going to bend our knees and rise up and inhale the arms up overhead. And on the exhale, bring your hands down together in front of your heart. Take a couple of breaths here in mountain pose. Let your shoulders soften down. Feel really wide across your chest, wide and open. Almost imagine that you're breathing in and out through your heart here for a couple of breaths. Let the breath settle down. We're going to come into a couple of sun salutations where we move with the breath. See if you can let it feel as easy as you can, right? Really focusing on the breath moving the body here. So releasing the arms on down beside us, we'll inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead and let your exhale carry you forward. Inhale into a nice long back. Exhale, right foot back to lunge. And inhale. Exhale into your downward facing dog pose. Let your inhale bring you out to your plank. Your exhale lowering you down. And inhale into your cobra of choice. Exhaling back to down dog. Inhale. Exhale right foot forward to lunge. And inhale. Exhale standing forward bend. Bend the knees rising up. Arms all the way to the top. And on the exhale you'll come forward again. Let your inhale lengthen out your spine. Exhale left foot back to lunge. And inhale. Exhale, downward facing dog. Let your inhale carry you to plank. Your exhale will lower you down. And inhale into your cobra. Exhaling back, down dog. Inhale. Exhale, left foot forward to lunge. And inhale. Exhale into standing forward bend again. Bend the knees, rising up again, arms to the top. And let your exhale carry you forward. Inhale, find that long back. And we're going to come into down dog. So you can jump or walk your way back into your down dog. Take your time, walk a little bit if you need, to the tops of the feet again if you can, pressing into like your toenails, 1 foot at a time. Good. And then let your feet come a little closer together in your dog. Bring your left leg up in the air behind you, 3-legged dog.
Flex the foot. Let your toes point down. Press equally back out of your hands. And then we're going to bring that left foot on forward and through. And have your blocks handy here. If you've got them handy, reach for them. We're going to come on up to Warrior One. So drawing the shoulders around, letting yourself bring your hands to your heart, getting really grounded in that back right foot, right? So you're really, foot's turned out maybe 20, 30 degrees. Feel your arches of your feet lifting up if you can. Four corners of the feet reaching down. Feel your shoulders over your hips. Good. And then we'll release the arms down beside us. And we're going to make a big arm circle. Inhaling the arms forward first, up overhead, back behind you as much as you can. They're going to keep on circling all the way back up. And once they come up overhead, take your time. Turn your pinkies towards each other. Come into your Warrior One here. If you can look up, do. If you can feel that lift right at the base of the shoulder blades. Feel the openness through the front of your right hip here. And energy all the way out through your fingertips. One more breath. And then we're going to release our arms on down. Clasp your hands behind you. Straighten the front knee out for pyramid pose. And start to ease your way forward. Thighs are engaging upward. You may not want to go very far having your hands back like this. Some of you might want to go quite a bit over that front leg. And some of you might even want to fold over the front leg, releasing your arms away from your back. That is so not for everybody to do, shoulder-wise or anything else. Be where you can. Release the hands on down now. Let yourself have your hands whatever surface you like. And lengthen out through the spine again here now. Let yourself really find that nice long back. Feel the thighs engaging up towards the hips. And then from here, we're going to bend the front knee and find lunge. So now we're going to rotate that right heel to reach directly behind our foot. And we're going to add a twist of choice. So left hand can come to the left hip, the low back. You can roll that shoulder up. You can stretch your left arm up. Or, of course, you can do twisted prayer. So if you'd rather adjust to bring your right elbow over to that left knee and bring your hands together into prayer hands, you can do that twist. So find the twist of choice for you. And then we'll come on back into our lunge. And we're going to make our way back to downward facing dog pose. So take your time. If you want to do some vinyasas or kriyas or put your knees down and rest, do it. You can come to plank. You can move to a back bend, either coming down through chaturanga, through that push-up, or you can let yourself move to your plank and back to dog. Just be mindful. Let it feel good. Good. And then we'll meet back in down dog. Bringing the feet a little closer together. Right leg up in the air. Turn the toes down. Three-legged dog. Think of keeping your hips level as you can. Hug your elbows towards each other. And then we're going to bring that right foot forward and through. We're coming up for Warrior One on the other side. So easily here now, get your shoulders around. Bring your hands to your heart for a second. Check out your front knee. Make sure you're not bending your knee out farther forward than your toes there. And then feel that back foot really in the floor. So you feel that openness in the front of your left hip. And then unfold your arms. Remember, we're going to do a big arm circle. So we're going to reach the arms forward and up, overhead. Reach back behind you as far as you can. Let yourself, as the arms start to proceed forward and up again, feel that lift to the belly. Bringing your gaze up if you can, coming into your Warrior One. Energy all the way out through the fingertips. Feet equal in the floor. One more breath. And then we'll bring our arms on down. Clasp your hands behind you. Straighten the front knee. Square off your hips here. If you need to adjust your feet, do. And then we'll come on forward. So feel the thighs lifting up towards the hips. Again, you might want to come just a little ways. You may want to continue going forward. You may even want to fold over that front leg. Maybe even bringing your arms off your back. And don't do that if it's too much. Keep your hands wherever you need, down to the floor or blocks if you need. And then we'll bring our hands down And now if you want to use blocks or the floor, come into your pyramid here. You might need to adjust your feet now that you've got your hands to give you a little support. Feel your thighs engaging upward. Lengthen out through your spine. See if you can imagine drawing your hip pointer bones towards each other here. Using your belly a little bit there. Good. We're going to bend the front knee. We're going to find lunge by reaching that heel now of that left foot directly behind. So we're setting up for our twist, bringing our right hand to our right hip and turning into twist here. So hand can go on your low back. You're more than welcome to stretch that top arm up or to bring your left elbow across to your right knee if you choose, coming into prayer hands. Good. We're going to come on back down with the hand and come back to downward facing dog pose from here. Once you're in dog, come on out to your plank. Take your time. Now, if you're able to, go ahead and move the hips on downward and come on into an up dog with your toes curled under. Don't do it if it's too much. And then we'll come back to down dog again. And let's do that one more time. Coming out to plank and then letting yourself shift on downward with the hips, coming to your up dog, and then back into downward dog. And then from here, we're going to bring the knees down and shift back towards child's pose. Taking a little break here. And then breathe nice and deeply here into your back. And then we're going to come back to all fours and come back into downward facing dog. And this time, we're going to bring our left foot forward and we're coming up for warrior two this time. So adjusting that back foot about parallel to the back edge of your mat. Lining up your heels, bending into that front knee. Make sure this front foot is about parallel to the long edge of your mat. So you don't want to turn it inward and make the knee go inward. Knee lined up over the center of your foot. Good. And then let's stretch our arms out nice and long. Flex your hands for a second and draw the hands in towards your shoulders. And then press out into the heels of the hands. Press your feet away from each other at the same time. Like you're pushing everything away from the midline there. And then go ahead and softly let the hands come palms down towards the floor. Reaching out through the fingertips. Feeling nice and open in the hips. Beautiful. We're going to turn the left palm up. And let that right arm fold behind you as you inhale and reach up towards the sky. Breathing into that side you're stretching. And on your next exhale, come into your side angle. Whether it's your hand or your forearm going to your thigh. Keep your right hand behind you if you can. And let that top hand turn palm outward. So it can be kind of more to your right hip or to the middle. It can be all the way across to your left hip or kind of tucked in there to the top of your left thigh if you want. Depends on your shoulder, really. One more breath. And then we're going to release the arm to swing in front of our chest. Right arm swings all the way up into line, finding that extended side angle. Press into that left forearm there on your thigh. Try not to drop into your left shoulder. Good. We're going to turn to face the floor and come into lunge from here. Grab your blocks. And we're going to shift on forward, having our blocks under our hands. Open through into a little half moon here. So let the right toes turn away from the floor. Shift your weight more onto your left hand. Decide if you even want to try to balance right hand on up to the hip or stretching the arm up overhead. If it's been a while, don't push it and take your time. Just let yourself play where you want to for a breath or two. Doesn't matter if you ever lift your gaze off the floor or if you ever bring that hand up for now. Just take your time. And now bringing the right hand down, turn the toes back down, and we're going to step back into lunge. So making your way back into your lunge, and we'll come on back into downward facing dog pose. So again, you're on your own kind of, If you want to do that plank, if you want to go through to a back bend, or maybe you want to put your knees down and rest. So following what your body needs to do here. Good. Take your time. Finish off back in down dog. Good, and we're going to bring the right foot forward and come up into warrior two on the other side. So have your blocks handy there. Line your heels up. Take your time now. Get yourself really situated there. Go ahead, float your arms up. Circle your wrists, hands around a little bit so your wrists get a little release there. And then go ahead and flex your hands and bring your hands in towards your shoulders like you're being compressed inward here towards the midline. And then start to press everything away. Feet, hands, pressing away from the midline. Looking at the back of your right hand here if you can. And then going ahead and lowering the palms to face down, reaching out through your fingertips. We'll turn that right palm up, fold the left arm under you, behind you, and inhale, reaching in to that right side of the body. And on your exhale, coming into that side angle. Keep your left hand behind you if you can. Press into that forearm. You can put the hand turning palm out. You can shift it around if your shoulder feels really good to reach over for the top of that right thigh. Not necessary, and you know it. Just enjoy. Find the length of your spine. And then we're going to release that top left arm to swing in front of the chest. Bring it up into line with the left side of the body. Coming into side angle here. Really extending out through your fingertips. Feeling that long diagonal line. Good. One more breath. Beautiful. We're going to turn to face the floor. Bring your hands to your blocks. Find your lunge briefly. And we're going to go ahead and launch forward for turning the toes down and then opening the hip for a little half moon. So take your time. You don't have to lift the left hand off the block if you don't want to. You can. You can bring yourself into your half moon with your arm overhead. You can let yourself stay down with the hand. Play around, right? Not forcing. Just having it be fun. Good. Especially if it's been a while, right? Be mindful. Good. And then we'll bring our hands down, and we're going to reach on back into that lunge again. So make your way back into lunge as gracefully as you can, and we'll make our way back into down dog. So last vinyasas or kriyas. If you want to come out, move through to a plank. If you want to come out and come through that push-up, lowering yourself down through chaturanga, just remember, pay attention to how your shoulders feel. Be mindful. Good. And let's meet back in downward facing dog pose. Really find your dog. Spread your fingers. Hug your elbows towards each other. And let dog almost feel like a resting pose. Breathing into your back. Imagine you're expanding your back ribs with your breath. Good. And then let's step the right foot forward and then the left foot forward and come on into our standing forward bend. Releasing here, breathing now, and letting your hands, if it's comfortable, come to your elbows. You know, don't do that if it's too much. And then we'll bring our hands on up to our hips and bend our knees, press into our feet, and rise on up. And let's inhale our arms all the way out and up. Let your exhale bring your hands down together in front of your heart. From here, feel very equal between your feet. And now, just bring your left arm on top of your right. Give yourself a hug. Let your elbows melt down. You may be happy to stay right here. You don't have to come into either a half eagle or eagle wrap. You can slide the back of your right hand to the outside of your left elbow if you're more comfortable to do that. Or you can send the backs of your hands towards each other, coming into a full wrap if you like doing that. So be mindful. Make sure you're not tucking your tailbone forward or locking your knees. Feel really mindful of releasing here between the shoulders. Feel the feet equal in the floor. And then we'll unwind the arms on down beside us for a second. Let them hang. And then float them up enough to bring the right arm on top of the left. And again, giving yourself a hug here. And if you want to proceed to the half eagle wrap or the full, that's up to you. You can slide the back of your left hand to the outside of your right elbow. You can send the backs of the hands. They don't have to go all the way towards each other. That final little fingers to the palm and then the twist of the thumbs to the midline is totally optional. And then we'll release to let our arms come on down. And then just find your mountain with your arms just hanging. Let yourself feel very easy, the weight of your arms. Your arms might carry any number of different ways. You know, palms might face back for some people or in towards your legs or even forward for some people. We're all different in how we're built. So just be easy here. Feel very balanced. Good. And then we'll shake everything out just a little bit. And we're going to bring our mats into a wall here. So at home, too, you're going to need to put your hand on something. You don't have to necessarily move your mat, though, unless you want to, right? And bring a block with you. Let's do just a little bit of eagle. It doesn't have to be full eagle, but just to get our hips and our thighs really going here. Left hand towards whatever you're using for support. The block between your foot and the wall, bringing your right thigh on top of your left. You can put your toes on the block and be perfectly happy, right? Sitting back like you're almost going into chair pose with the torso coming a little forward, thighs squeezing towards each other. Hands can come to your heart. You can keep holding on to the wall. You can come into left arm over the right and come into your eagle wrap there if you choose to involve the hips and the shoulders. Not necessary. The other thing is if you're a wrapper, you can wrap that right foot around behind your left calf there. And you can bring yourself into a little balance here if you choose to. Just be mindful. So remember that knee you're standing on, you want it to come right out over the center of your foot. Good. Take your time. Really feel the thighs squeezing towards each other. And then we'll release. We're going to stand on back up and uncross. And we're going to switch. Go the other side. So take your time as you bring that top thigh over. And, you know, some of you may not want to bend your knee very deeply because it doesn't work too well to do that, right? Don't do it. You have to ease your way into where your body's going to allow you to go here. Again, if you're a wrapper, you can wrap your toes around back of your leg. You can keep the toes on the block or flex them off the block. Coming into more of a balance, right? And then again, hands can be at the heart. It's traditional for opposite arm to come on top of the leg that's on top. So if you want to do the eagle wrap, when your left thigh is on top, your right arm would come on top. Good. And then let yourself release and come on out of that. Good. Shake it out just a little bit. And we are going to come down onto our mats with our feet behind, towards the wall behind us if we're in the studio here. So just to do a little bit of play here with our heels up the wall. If you're at home and you don't have a wall, don't worry about it. You can do this without a wall. So let yourself come on back and come towards child's pose for a second with your toes touching the wall. Let your hips release there. And just breathe. You know, you don't have to go all the way. In child's pose, you can stay forward if your hips and knees don't allow you to shift your hips back. Don't force anything. Good. And then let's come on forward onto our forearms. Clasp your hands, send your pinky out. And let's come on up into a little dolphin pose. Now, once you get up here, if you're not using the wall, you can just walk your feet up towards your face or back away from your face until you're comfortable, right? If your heels are on a wall, then you may decide that you need to come down and adjust where you have your forearms, right? So that you get into the shoulders where you're able to be. And that's different for all of us, right? So don't do it if it hurts your shoulders. Don't do it at all. You can stay in a forearm plank if you'd rather than coming up into this upside down V shape. And you can rest. If you want to send a foot up the wall, which in here some of you are already doing, you can do that. You can even do one leg at a time or both feet up the wall if you choose to. So you know how your shoulders feel. And then when you're ready, coming on down, shifting back again towards child's pose. And then we're going to kind of slither forward onto our bellies. So let yourself come on forward onto your belly. And come onto your forearms. Let yourself release up to your forearms here. Feel the palms, the hands spread wide, the palms down, pressing down gently into the floor. Good. And then let's bring our left forearm parallel to the front edge of the mat. Bend our right knee. And if that's enough, if you feel like you want to reach back and get your foot for half bow, that's fine. If you feel like you want to stay down with this right arm, do that. And you can press the foot into your hand, come up a little higher if you choose in your half bow. You can always bring that forearm down towards your waist more and come up a little higher. And then we're going to come on down and we're going to switch. So right forearm is parallel to the front edge. Bend your left knee. You may be happy right there. You don't have to reach back. That is already getting into the quad. There's a bit of a back bend when you're up on your forearm there. If you want to reach for your foot, pressing the foot into the hand, and you want to come up a little higher, you can maybe draw that supporting forearm a little more towards your waist. Good. And then let's come down. And let's bend both knees. So bend both your knees. Now you can make a little pillow with your head. Keep resting here with your head on your hands there. Or if you want to reach back and get both your feet, you can come into a little bow pose, pressing the feet into your hands, maybe even rising up a little bit with the feet towards the ceiling. Not necessary, right? You just pay attention. You can do locust instead too, long arms and legs. And then we're going to come on down. And we're going to shift back again into pose of a child. So let yourself breathe there. Nice, easy, full breaths. Enjoy feeling those breaths coming in and going out. And then bring your hands back by your knees and let yourself press your way up. And come on around to sitting and grab your straps. So at home, if you're not using a strap, if you're using a towel or something or a belt, just grab it. Let's all do our right ball of our foot into the strap. And let ourselves bring the left foot in where you can. So it might be below your knee. It might be above your knee. That really totally depends on you. You may need a block. So remember, if you feel iffy in your hip or your knee, give yourself a little bit of support so that you don't have this glitchy feeling at all in your hip or your knee. And then press the ball of the foot into the strap. Let yourself lengthen up from there. So really feel that sense of lengthening up through the top of your head. You're holding your strap however you want to. Both hands, or you can do one hand, kind of bring it to the ends of it towards each other, the two straps. And then when you exhale, draw yourself forward just by bending your elbows a little bit. And it may not be far. Now, if you need to, when you inhale again, you can come back out of it. And then maybe you can bend a little deeper when you come back forward again. So take your time. You'll know you don't want to get to this point where you feel any giant pulling sensation at your sit bone, ever, right? So come back when you get to that point where you feel that too much of a pull. Come back out of it and just be with your breath. And give your body time to adjust. Following your breath all the way in and all the way out. Good. So one more breath. And then we're going to slowly make our way up. Now we're going to open this right leg out to the side a little bit. All right. And then from there, we'll come into a little side stretch by sliding our right hand down towards our foot. You can use the strap to help you, right? You can bend the right elbow a little bit, and you can put your left hand up on your hip if you want. If that's enough, stay right there. You can add the arm. You can bring it up if you want to. That left arm can come up. Or you can reach it over and come over into more of a side stretch. So you be where you can. Good. And then we'll come slowly back up. Use your belly to help you get back up. And bring that foot on back forward so that we can switch. And put our left foot in the strap. And again, where you bring the right foot, totally up to you. Use support, blanket, or block if you need. Especially, you'll know when you come forward. Sometimes there's just this hint of something that doesn't feel quite right. So support it if it helps, right? And let yourself feel the heel of the left foot on the floor. Draw upward now through the top of your head as you press the ball of your foot into your strap. And then when you exhale, bend your elbows just a little bit. Imagine you're drawing your whole torso forward as one piece. And then when you inhale, you might need to come out of it a little bit, right? So you can move a bit if it feels better to you to kind of move a little bit forward and back at first. And give yourself time to adjust. And again, making sure when you get to that edge, that place where it's too much of a pulling in the back of the leg, right up there, especially by your sit bone, then come out of it and stay back out of that edge and just let yourself breathe. So you're engaged by having the heel on the floor, drawing it back towards you a little bit. And then just watching your breaths now, all the way in and all the way out. Good. One more breath. And now see if you can make your way back up so that you can send the foot out to the side a little bit here. If you need to adjust this leg that's bent, do it. If it needs to come straight, do. All right? And we're going to slide the hand down. Slide your left hand down towards your foot. You can bend your elbow if you want. You can just stay here with the hand on the hip and breathe there into the right ribs. You can stretch the right arm up towards the ceiling if that feels good. Or you can extend the arm down more towards your head, maybe even reaching your hand towards your foot. All right? And it doesn't matter if the right sit bone floats up off the floor a little bit. So you come to that side stretch where you're able to be. And then we're going to slowly make our way all the way on back up. Use your belly a little bit there. And then we're going to bring the strap on off our foot and take your time. Shake your legs out just a little bit. And we're going to come on down onto our backs on the floor from here. So come down. You can roll down. If you like rolling down, you can either leave your knees bent or have your legs straight. And you can think about rolling down through the spine, engaging the belly to do that. That's up to you. Once you get down there, bring your knees into your chest and let yourself release knees a little side to side. And then just for a little added fun, grab a block and put it underneath your back in a supported bridge, low level of the block. So at home, if you don't have a block, you don't have to do this part. You can grab a book, You can put blankets under you instead. Or a bolster, if you have a bolster, all right? So from here, kind of roll your shoulders under, like you're getting into bridge pose, so you feel pretty good here. Bring your right leg up in the air. Let yourself from here, just see how your pelvis is. Like, make sure you're not letting go and sinking your low back down towards the floor, right? So send your sit bones down a little bit and your tailbone. It gives you a little natural curve in your low back. And then as you exhale, lower that right leg down, not all the way to the floor. Keep the heel just an inch or two away from the floor for a second, and then bring the leg back up in the air. So as you exhale, lower the leg down, but keep your pelvis stable. And then when you inhale, bring it back up. So just go 1 or 2 more times on that right side, letting yourself exhale the leg down. Doesn't have to go that far. Keeping that stability in the pelvis. Keeping that stability so you're not going back and forth. So finish off with the right leg up in the air. And then let's just switch. So put your right foot on the floor, bring your left leg up in the air, and then start to lower it down. Now, as you do, press into that right foot a little bit. That'll help too. And then when you're ready, you rise it back up. So, you might go, not even like much past that right knee with your leg if you're feeling like you're letting go of the pelvis. So keeping nice and firm here. So let yourself do one more lowering of the leg and lifting back up. Good. And then bring both knees in towards your chest. And then start to extend the legs up so that if you can, you have the feet up like you're putting a footprint on the ceiling. And then see if you can open your legs wide from here. So into a little wide angle. Feel free to put your hands on the outside of your legs to give them a little support. If just hanging there is too much in your inner thighs, you might need to kind of give yourself a little bit of support. All right? Just let it feel good. Open the inner thighs there. Good. And then bring the feet on back up towards the ceiling. And let's bring the feet one at a time down towards the floor. Now you can stay in this supported bridge or you can press up off your block if you choose. Coming into a bit more of a bridge, higher of a bridge pose. If any of you want to do a full upward facing bow, a back bend, you can come off the block, put your hands on the floor above your shoulders and press up if you choose. Or you can move up and down out of bridge pose too. If you're on that block and you like to go down and rest and then get up off the block a little bit, do. Or shift the block to a higher level too if you want. All right? So if you are on a block and it feels good to come up a little higher on that block, do. And then we're going to gently release ourselves back down to the floor from our bridge. So if you're still on that block, be really mindful when you take it out, lowering yourself down to the floor and bringing your knees in slowly towards your chest. Let them widen just a little bit. So your knees kind of slide outward a little and then roll the knees side to side, the legs side to side. Let the back go and the hips. And then bring your feet down to the floor and let your arms come straight out into a T position. Palms can face up or down, whatever feels best for your shoulders, right? And let's cross our right thigh over our left, like we did when we were practicing eagle, thigh over thigh. And then press into your left foot. Lift your hips up a little bit. Shift them to the right 2 or 3 inches and put them down. And then let the knees come over to the left. Now, this twist, your right foot will hit the floor if you want it to and hold you there. You don't have to go farther. Or you can lower the knees down towards the side, more towards the floor. Maybe even using a block to support them or a blanket if it feels like too much to lay them out on the floor. But let yourself release into this twist if you can. Just breathing. Letting yourself feel your shoulders released into the floor. And we're going to slowly then start to bring the knees up and shift to straighten yourself out and uncross your legs and get your spine straightened out again, right? So if you need to kind of wiggle around a little bit, do. And then we'll bring left thigh on top of the right. Cross leg again, thigh over thigh. Lift your hips, shift them to the left 2 or 3 inches and put them down. And your knees are going to come over to the right. And again, we're all different. It might be a couple of inches and you're happy there. You can reach the left foot to give you support on the floor, or you can keep descending down towards the ground with the knees, with the legs. I forgot to say on the other side, but you can turn your head to look away from the direction your knees are going to, if that adds a nice release for you up into your upper back and your neck. So be with your breath, watching the breath all the way in and out. And now when you get ready to come up, take your time. As your knees head up, you can uncross anytime you want. And you can arrange your spine again to get straightened back out on the floor. And then bring your knees back into your chest. If a little bit of a happy baby pose sounds good, send the feet up. You can bring your hands around towards the outside of your thighs if you want, or reach up for your feet. Take your time. Start to listen. Maybe your body needs to do something else here. So if you prefer to come into any other pose or movement, if you'd rather bring the soles of the feet towards each other, coming into a little Baddha Konasana. Some of you might want to do a plow pose. Some of you might want to lift your feet right on up into the air and stretch your legs out. In other words, really, just be mindful. Let yourself take your time here to come into what feels really good to you, so that when you do get ready to lie out for Shavasana, it feels good and easy, right? Here at the studio, I'm going to start to get some lights out. If you like to lie with your legs up the wall, whether you're at home or here, if that feels good, or maybe you want to bolster, if you're here at the studio, for underneath your knees, wave at me if you do. And if you're home, you've probably got things there that you can use for support underneath your knees if you need, whether it's pillows or blankets. Just let yourself get comfortable so that your arms and your legs find a really comfortable place to be for your shoulders and your hips to release deeper. If you feel like you want to turn your head a little bit side to side to let your neck release a little more, do. And just start to allow the body to feel very, very released, almost like you're melting down into the ground. And let your awareness come to watching your breath now. So there's nothing you need to do. If you can keep returning your focus back to your breath whenever your mind wanders off. You'll find that the body and the mind do respond to your breath quieting down. And these few minutes give you time to benefit in whatever way your body and your brain need from all that you just did. So just let yourself completely and fully relax.
gradually now, let your awareness start to come back into feeling the ground underneath you, physically supporting you again. Accepting your breaths in a little deeper and fuller, so you're starting to feel the body move when you breathe in and out. Rising and falling in the belly. Let those deeper breaths start to bring you back now, wanting to physically move again. Fingers, toes, hands and feet. Take your time. If you need to stretch everything out, let yourself stretch, or bring your knees in towards your chest if that feels better to you. Just be mindful. Take your time. Enjoy the ground a little bit longer if you can. Appreciate gravity holding you there. You're welcome to roll to your side if you're comfortable to stay there on your side for a little bit and give the body a little time to adjust. And then when you do feel okay to rise up, see if you can be really easy about it. Let your head be the last thing to rise up to the top if you can. Get comfortable in the way you're sitting, whether it's crossed legs or stretch legs out or grabbing a blanket or pillow to sit on if you need. Let your eyes close again if they open on your way up so that you can stay inwardly focused just a little bit longer. Just letting the body adjust to, again, having your head up above your heart, feeling the breath coming in and going out through your nose. And on your next exhale, let your hands come gently to meet there in front of your chest. And wishing each one of you a very joyful day. Namaste. Happy Tuesday, everybody.